Enlightenment of the Prophet. The Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was happily married to Khadija. She was the best of all women in terms of her excellent morals, manners, and appreciation of the Prophet. Khadija led a happy life with the Prophet, and she gave birth to 4 girls and 2 boys. The boys were Al-Qasim and Abdullah, who by Allah's will died young, one after the other. As for the girls, they had a happy childhood with a kind father and a noble mother. Even though the Prophet was mourning the loss of his sons, he kept himself busy handling the trade. It was a tough time to live in Arabia. There were frequent wars among different communities with Arabia, and things were no different in Mecca. The different clans and tribes in Mecca fought among themselves. The Prophet didn't join any of them, and neither did he join any rebellion. He believed that there was only one Allah, creator of the sun, the moon, the earth, the sky, and of all living things, and that all people should worship only Him. He would often leave the crowded city and go to the cave in Mount Hira. This was a period of confusion in Prophet's life. He wondered what was life's purpose. His visits to Mount Hira became more frequent, and he would spend the nights contemplating. The daughters of the Prophet had grown up, and they soon got married. The Prophet was very close to his youngest daughter, Fatima. Fatima was a darling to her mother as well. He often used to discuss his concerns with his wife, but she assured him that God wouldn't let anything bad happen to him. She asked him to trust God and His plans. In his 40th year, Prophet left Mecca to spend Ramadan, the traditional month of retreat, in the cave. In the second half of Ramadan, Allah began to reveal His message for mankind through the Prophet. The first revelation occurred as follows. One day, as usual, the Prophet was sitting in the cave. He suddenly saw a strange light in the shape of a man standing before him. It was none other than the angel Jibreel. The angel then commanded the Prophet to read. The Prophet replied that he was illiterate and so could not read. At this instant, the angel grabbed the Prophet in his arms and pressed him to his chest until it was almost too much to bear. He then released him and said again, "Read." "I cannot," replied the Prophet. The angel embraced him again. For the 3rd time, the angel commanded the Prophet to read, but still he said he could not and was again embraced. On releasing him this time, however, the angel said, "Read in the name of your Lord, who has created everything, who has created man from a clot. Read, and your Lord is the most generous." The Prophet repeated these verses, just as the angel had said them. When the angel was sure the Prophet knew them by heart, he went away. The Prophet was alone now and couldn't understand what just happened. He was terribly afraid and rushed out of the cave. He was shivering in cold as he ran towards his home. In a state of confusion, he returned home to Khadija. When his wife saw him, she became very worried. Her husband was shivering as though in fever. He asked her to wrap him in blankets, which she did. After a while, he recovered sufficiently to tell her what had happened at Hira. Khadija believed all that he told her, and with great respect said, "Be happy and be confident. Truly I swear by Allah, who has my soul in his hands, that you will be our people's prophet." The Messenger of Allah was eased by her faith in him, but after all that had happened, he was exhausted. Khadija left the Prophet sleeping and went to see her cousin, Waraqa ibn Nawfal, to ask him what he thought about all that had happened. He was an old man who had excellent knowledge of scriptures, but he was blind. Khadija said to Waraqa, "Listen to the story of my husband, O my cousin." Waraqa asked her to narrate what happened. Khadija then described the Prophet's encounter with the angel exactly as he told her. She told him how the angel asked him to read, and how he pressed him when he told he can't read. She also told him what the angel said before leaving the Prophet. As Waraqa listened to the incidents, he began to tremble in excitement. He told Khadija that the Prophet had been chosen by Allah to be his messenger. Just as the angel Jibreel had come to Prophet Musa alayhi salam before and ordered him to guide his people, so her husband too would be the prophet of his people. But Waraqa warned that not all the people would listen to the Prophet, and some would mistreat his followers. He must, however, be patient, because he had a great message for all the world. He told her that if he were to live long enough, then he would forever stand in support of the Prophet. Khadija was satisfied with her cousin's answers and returned. But after a few days, Waraqa died, and the divine inspiration was also paused for a while. Angel Jibreel came often to the Prophet, and the verses he taught him, the message from Allah to man, were later written down and are known to us as the Holy Quran. After that momentous day in the month of Ramadan, revelation came again and again to the Prophet. He understood now what he had to do and prepared himself for what was to come. Only a strong and brave man helped by Allah can be a true prophet, because people often refuse to listen to Allah's message. Khadija radiyallahu anha was the first to believe the Prophet and accept the truth, and Waraqa was the second person to believe in him. Through her, Allah made things easier for the Prophet. Khadija strengthened him, helped him spread his message, and stood up to the people who were against him.